Hi, it's Stacy from familieswithgrace.com, and I just wanted to talk with you today a little bit about married life because that is definitely an issue for most of us Christian moms. We're dealing with all kinds of things from work to kids to home and husbands as well. And so one of the challenges that we have is figuring out date nights. So I have come up with a list of free summer date night ideas for parents. I've got 10 of them, 10 summer date night ideas that are free or pretty much nearly free to help you out this summer as you're trying to figure out how to connect with your husband in the midst of summer craziness and while things are kind of tricky financially, because I know that's a difficult time for, everything is just costing so much more these days. So I wanted to come up with some solutions that don't cost you an arm and a leg that you probably don't have to spend. All right, so let's start off with talking about summertime. Whenever I hear the word summertime, because I relate everything to music, the very first thing that I think of is George Gershwin's song Summertime, which goes summertime and the living is easy. All right, I'm not going to sing it because that would just be weird. Anyway, what I'm guessing is that Gershwin did not have kids or that he was not in charge of them, because summertime is anything but easy. It is one of actually the most stressful times even in my own life as I'm trying to deal with work and home and kids and making sure that I'm making memories and just trying to balance it all. It's very hectic. So figuring out summer date ideas in the midst of all of that is challenging for sure. My husband and I, throughout our 22 years of being married, have learned that we have to be intentional about ways that we're going to connect all of the time, but especially during the summer months when we are busier. And this summer, because, everything costs more, coming up with some ideas of things to do that don't cost much money or any money would seem like an even better idea. All right, so summer date night number 1 is sit outside. Sounds very simple, but sitting outside, whether it's on your front porch, your back patio, or whatever space that you like to be outside in, is a great thing to do. Spend some time on summer evenings when hopefully the weather is a little bit cooler anyway, once the kids are in bed, and then just sit and talk with each other. Plan even a half an hour just to be able to connect. When our children were toddlers and babies, we would take a baby monitor outside with us so that we would be able to hear them if they needed us and make sure that, we weren't just leaving them to cry on their own, because that would stress me out and distract from being able to connect with my husband and have a date. So once they got older, we knew that they could come and get us if they needed something. And by the time that they were old enough to do that, we did mention to them sometimes, if you come and you need us, and you don't see us, make sure that you look out on the back patio or the front porch, whichever one. It's been different at 2 different houses that we lived at, and come find us that way. So if you need us, you know where to find us. But otherwise, we can just sit and talk and enjoy the evening together, and it's just a nice chance to be able to reconnect in the midst of busyness without being interrupted during our conversations most of the time. All right, my summer date night idea number 2 is to find a series to watch together. So lots of shows go on repeat during the summer months, which is kind of annoying sometimes, I know, but that also is a great opportunity to find a series that you can binge watch together. So find something that you both like and give it a try, and then plan maybe 1 or 2 nights or 3, 4 nights, whatever, a week to snuggle up together and watch the show after your kids go to bed. Put down your phones, don't be distracted doing other things like I know can so often happen, and just hang out with your spouse and watch a show together. You can talk about it, you can laugh about it, or whatever kind of show that you're watching. You can come up with theories about it depending on the show. So that's a good way to be able to connect with each other. That does not really cost any money because you're probably already paying for a streaming service or have some sort of access to a show that you could watch. You can find lots of different ideas online or on your favorite streaming services as well. All right, summer date night number 3, eat a cold treat together. Listen, food is my love language, I have to be honest, because I love food. And when I'm happy, I think I should have something. When I'm sad, probably should have something too. But if it's not necessarily healthy, but it's just the truth. So incorporating food into a date night is kind of fun for me too. Something special like an ice cream is very nice. So if your kids are old enough that they can stay home alone for maybe an hour, or if you can come up with a babysitter, then go out for ice cream together and enjoy that time, eating a cold treat and just talking and being together. You can get ice cream or frozen yogurt, whatever you want. Going for ice cream instead of for dinner is going to be cheaper, which is a nice alternative. So for less than $10 probably, depending on where you live and what you get, you can have a nice date together. But if you are not able to find a babysitter, or your kids are too young to stay home for an hour, which happens, we're just now starting to get into a phase of life where that's a little bit different for us, then plan a summer ice cream date night at home after your kids are in bed. I know, I feel a little guilty if I would eat ice cream at home without my kids, but it's okay. I give you permission. You can do it sometimes during the summer. It's okay. So pick nap time or after they've gone to bed, make homemade ice cream sundaes together, or use another sweet treat that you have and just enjoy it together. Just sit at your kitchen table or on your couch or on your porch, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Have a sweet treat and just talk and spend time together. All right, summer date night idea number 4. Go for a walk together and hold hands. Sometimes we forget to do that as we have been married for a while and our hands get busy, especially with kids. We're trying to keep track of them and hold things, and it gets a little crazy. So be intentional about that. Find ways to connect. You can go for a walk and actually hold hands and enjoy each other's company. You can go for a walk just around your neighborhood. If that works for you, especially, maybe during nap time, you could do that, or even after bedtime, if you don't go very far, things like that. Find a nature walk that's close to you. We have an area not too far from our house that we can go to, and our kids, it's a very contained area, and our kids like to kind of explore a little bit. It's a safe way for them to do so, and they're old enough that they're able to do so safely. So it's kind of nice to let them go and explore just a little bit, and my husband and I just kind of walk slowly behind them and are able to just talk and hold hands and just kind of have some time to reconnect. So even having your kids along with you, you can still have sort of a date feel to the activity, which is a nice thing to be able to do, and something that, to be realistic, we all need to figure out ways to do. All right, so let's keep going. Number 5, our summer date night idea number 5 is to color together. So if you have kids, chances are really good that you also have some art supplies hanging out around your house. So instead of just making it all your kids' territory, plan one night that you guys hang out and you color together. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. My husband is way more artistic than I am. So when we color together, he uses different markers. He's got some special markers, and he'll do shading, and it looks super awesome. And I just usually do princess pictures with crayons, and that I color in, and sometimes I get real fancy and put makeup on them with my crayons. But that's what I enjoy. So it doesn't really matter what you're coloring or how you're doing it. It's just the act of doing it together, and being able to do something kind of mindless also allows conversation sometimes to flow a little bit easier because you're not so intensely focused on one another, that maybe you can be able to open up and talk a little bit more, which is definitely something we all need in our relationships. All right, so let's talk about another summer date night idea, number 6. Tackle a project together. All right, so I know it sounds suspiciously like work, and the whole point of date night is to, not work. But my husband and I do enjoy a chance to be able sometimes to get things done together that have been hanging over our heads. For example, over this past weekend, in fact, we spent probably a couple of hours actually hanging some pictures around our house, which was something that we've been needing to do for the last, 3 or 4 years since we moved into this house. We had some things hung, but most things were not. And so we spent some time doing that. Our kids were kind of worried they would get roped into doing some work and having to help out. So they both disappeared to their rooms, and my husband and I just spent a couple of hours laughing together, working on getting the pictures hung, and we had a good time. And so I consider that to be, those sorts of times to be a date night. Even if you're being productive, that's 100% okay, because you're getting things done, but you're also spending time together, which is great. I will say, just be sure to keep a good attitude about it and be willing to accept some unsolicited advice if you're working on a project together that might come up. I'm not saying that I received unsolicited advice last weekend, but I'm also not saying that I didn't. So I will just leave that there. All right, summer date night number 7, go geocaching together. So a few years ago, geocaching was really popular, but it is still around. If you get some kid-free time, download a geocache map and head out together, find some geocaches. It's a pretty fun thing to do. If you want to keep it totally free, then ride your bicycles. If you're okay to spend some money for gas, then hop in the car and drive from place to place and see what all you can find and where you can find it. Sometimes we have found that just the hunt of finding, you can find a location, but then finding the actual geocache takes a little bit of work and time. So that can be a fun way to spend some time together, use your skills, and make some memories, and just be able to hang out and have a good date time together. All right, summer date night idea number 8, play a game together. So my husband and I love to play games. Planning a date night after the kids go to bed to play games is a great plan. Like, that's something that works really well. So I will tell you, I am not at all a night owl. I'm definitely more in the early bird category. I don't like to play really involved games after the kids go to bed. If you do, that's perfect. Do it. It's your thing. It's not my thing. I like to stick to more games that are a little bit easier, things like that. But whether it's a board game, a video game, a card game, whatever, playing a game together is a really good way to be able to connect as a couple, and have some maybe friendly competition, share some laughs, or find a game that you're working together cooperatively at. Can be a really good way to connect. I know that my husband and I have done that, especially with video games. It's hard to do cooperative games that are board games or card games when there's just two of you. But video games especially offer that opportunity if that's something that you are able to do or into doing. All right, my 9th summer date night idea out of 10 is to go for a drive together. So I know it's not completely free because you do have to spend money on gas, but sometimes just going for a drive on country roads near your house can be a really great summer date. Roll down the windows if you want to, let the wind blow through your hair, listen to music, or just talk with one another. If your kids are small and will sleep in the car, you could totally do this during nap time. Make nap time mobile one day, take them with you, and that's your date. Or if you are able to have a babysitter or your kids are able to be home alone, for maybe an hour or so, then you can do that and just go just the two of you and take a drive. You don't even have to plan to go anywhere. Just hit some country roads. I live in the Midwest. That's super easy to do. But if you live in a city, then just go city roads or wherever that's easiest for you to drive, and just kind of driving aimlessly, enjoying the sights and sounds around you and enjoying your time together. All right, and finally, summer date night idea number 10, read a book together. So I am a huge fan of books. I know, not all that surprising because I'm a writer, but I also love to read. So one of the things that you can do is read a fiction book together, or you can listen to the audio version together. And don't forget that you can hit up your local library for lots of free resources for both actual books or for ebooks or for audiobooks. All of those things you can find at your local library. I love the library also, so I definitely recommend doing that. You can read the book together out loud, or you can read it separately and then have a date night where you just are kind of talking about what you read, sort of like your own little book club. You can also pick a nonfiction book that's based on a topic that is of interest to both of you, or even a relationship book, if that would be good, that you can go through together and grow in your relationship. That's even better with, or you can find a journal that you can do together, something to help you just grow closer and be able to spend time with one another is always a great thing. There are even activity books, like game books for couples, that you can find. I got one actually for my husband a couple of years ago on Amazon. So very easy to find some things like that if you are interested in doing so, or you can find some free things to print out online. I'm always big on that too. But no matter what you do, the whole point is just to find some ways to connect with each other over the summer months. And it does not have to be big, magnificent date nights that take lots of planning and lots of money and lots of time. It can just be small little ways dispersed throughout the summer that you can do things, and they don't have to cost money at all. The whole point is just to connect. So have some fun this summer with your spouse, connect with each other. Let me know, give me a comment, tell me, what do you guys do to stay connected over the summer months and throughout the year as well as a parent, and how do you make that work in your marriage? I would love to hear from you, and always be sure as well to go over and hang out on the blog. Check out, I've got all sorts of great resources on parenting, on faith, on marriage. We've got recipes, lots of recipes. There's a new recipe that comes out every Tuesday, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely check out all of the resources and come along with me on the journey to help create homes filled with grace, love, and faith. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.